Oh, hi there. Good morning, Curtis.
Hello.
It actually is morning right now.
It is.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Wednesday one-shots here on Shooting the Shelf. Today, we're talking about a very special show. What are we talking about today, Curtis?
We're talking about Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah. The
Barbecue
Lasso way.
We did a nice big full breakdown reaction to the end of season 4 with Sean and the Euro Legions guys a while back. But that was more kind of a reaction to the ending of the series, which, there's news going on that there may be a season 4 of sorts coming, continuing on some of the characters. But we're going to talk about the existing 3 seasons that we have right now available to us on Apple Plus.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to do one of these because we hadn't done a Wednesday one shot on Ted Lasso. We did, like you said, the full breakdown. And if anybody wants to go watch that, it is I feel like it's a good breakdown with the Euro Legion boys. They give a unique perspective, obviously being, across the pond. But yeah, so that's more of like a full breakdown. This is really just kind of, Wednesday one shots are where we're recommending things to people. So probably not going to get into a whole lot of spoilery realm, but the reason why I wanted to talk about this one was, on top of we haven't done one, is just that I started watching it again, and it's just such a feel-good show, man. Like, it is one of those, I equate it to the opposite of Breaking Bad. Like Breaking Bad's a good show that you feel terrible after. This is a great show that you feel good after. Like, just, and it's such a strange concept. You got this American that knows nothing about soccer or football over there, as they call it, that had coached American football, that goes over there to coach this team. And it just sounds like a ridiculous concept, but it's not really, even though it's a show about soccer, it's really not a show about soccer. It's a show about being a good person. And, Ted is just, he's human. He's got his own flaws and stuff, but he's such a positive, just beacon of light that all the people that he surrounds himself with, their lives start getting better. They start becoming better people just for having known him. And it's just, to me, like I said, it makes me feel good because it's like the power that one person can have on all these other people's lives, and really turning it into their lives into a positive direction. So
I'm trying to remember the quote. I forget how he says it, but I'm pretty sure it's in the first season. It's when they're trying to win Roy over because he's there's going to be some minor spoilers, but not big, no big spoilers, at least yet. They're trying to win Roy over, and he does.
Just for people that don't know, Roy is like one of the stars of the team, and he's just like this older veteran, and he's very gruff, and he's just always like grunting and just not really the happiest person in the world.
Yeah, he's the guy he's been on the team so long and been doing it so long that that's his whole life is built around this, and they're trying to win him over because he just grunts and literally just grunts in response to so much stuff. But I can't remember if it's in that second or third episode where there's the showers situation. And they're like, oh man, he likes us. He's going to be really mad when he falls in love with us or something like that. And it's like,
I think it's like maybe 1 or 2 episodes in, because he said something about, basically Ted tells him, hey, it's going to be a pleasure coaching you. And you're like, one of the greatest athletes that I've been around, and all this and that. And you've had a great career. And he's like, oh, thank you. I didn't think it would end up being coached by Howdy Doody or something. and then he walks off, and then, Lasso looks at Beard. He's like, he's going to be so angry when he falls in love with us or something. And Beard goes furious.
And it is, me, I'm not a big sports guy. If you get me the right story, even if it doesn't make any sense, like I love the movie Draft Day. And
Mhm.
I know that, there are a lot of diehard sports fans, especially football, like American football fans. They're like, there's no way that would work like that. But I'm like, I don't care. It made me feel good watching that.
We should do one on that because I love that movie too.
I'll have to watch it again. I'll have to watch it
Yeah.
again. But this movie, like you said, it's not really about the soccer. It's the setting of the story, but it could have
Mhm.
been about a tennis team. It could have been about a badminton. It could have been about any sport.
Yeah,
That
there's a part in the first season, and this really isn't spoiler, so I don't mind sharing this, but he's talking to this reporter, Trent Krem, and you know,
independent.
obviously the reporters are very confused by this whole situation that you bring this guy over that knows nothing about soccer to coach, a Premier League soccer team. And basically Ted says, yeah, you're right. I don't know anything about this sport, but my goal isn't to win or lose. My goal is to make these men the best versions of themselves they can be. And that really is like the heart of what this is. Like just being the best person you can be.
Yeah, and like you said, he's not without his flaws. Like every character in the show is, got a lot of strengths and a lot of flaws, and it's definitely hyper realistic, but at the same time, it's very realistic. There's a lot of
Mhm.
relatable characters. There's a lot of relatable situations. Um, you know, uh, Maybe I'll throw this up here just because minor spoiler alert, because it does come later in season one. Um, we learn Ted starts having like panic attacks,
Mhm.
and seeing that happen, and then it's a callback to the first episode where he's put in front of the press conference like right off the plane.
Mhm.
um and I was like, wow, that's the closest portrayal, because when I was watching this show, that was me coming to grips with what that sort of thing in my life, and realizing that's something I should probably talk to someone about and get help with.
Mhm.
And so seeing that on screen in that way, I was like, wow, that's the closest portrayal I've seen of what I experience, like as far as like being able to portray it cinematically. And that just really, made me love this show even more, because as the seasons progress, they really get into a lot of mental health stuff.
Oh yeah. and
And
and and people's relationships with their parents and relationships with
Mhm.
other people, and there's very little black and white in the show. Like there's a lot of shades of gray because everybody has some redeemable qualities and everybody has
Mhm.
some flaws. It's not one of these, even though it is a feel good show, it's not one of these things where even Ted or any of the characters, nobody's like so goody two shoes that you're like, this isn't realistic. They
Yeah.
do put a very realistic spin on it. I mean, there's really only one person I can think of in the whole series that's just a jerk the whole time, and you're like, yeah, I just don't like that guy. But
And
almost everybody else has something good.
they do a good job though of, even with some of those characters, like they keep giving them opportunity, like the characters
Mhm.
keep giving them opportunities, and you're like, all right, because you do see some changes and progressions in character. Well, maybe they'll go for it. It's like, oh, all right, maybe not yet. And like it
Mhm.
kind of keeps you guessing the whole show, like where characters are going to end up in their own personal journeys. And I really like that. And it's funny as all hell. Like
Mhm.
it's hilarious, but it'll immediately have you cracking up, and 5 seconds later, at least me, just in tears, like getting my beard all soggy, because I'm, like just having such a strong reaction to it.
Oh,
And
I mean, it definitely triggers all the emotions. I mean, you go, yeah, like you said, 1 minute you're laughing, 1 minute you're crying. There's times where you're just angry, like you're just like furious. But yeah, it hits you in all the emotions. But at the end of the day, you feel better having watched this. And I'm at an age in my life where I need stuff like that. I don't, life is tough enough as it is. So watching something that makes you feel, like suspense movies or horror like things that put you on edge, like I already got enough of that. Like I need something that's going to make me feel good. And this is that. So, even if I'm just painting or doing something else and I need something in the background, that's the show that I've got running in the
nice.
background because it just, like I said, it just feels good. So,
Very cool. But yeah, for anyone who has not watched it yet, I in stellar performances, I don't think there is a bad actor in the lot, even down to like the secondary characters you only see maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the entire show.
Which is really amazing because like most of the cast, I would say probably like 95% of the cast I had never seen before in anything else. But they're really good. Like everybody really nails their role.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and I know is it Brett Goldstein who plays Roy is one of the writers, and he was one of the writers on Shrinking, which we've talked about on one of our earliest Wednesday one shots. So just the fact that like, and he's so different from Roy. Like when you see him behind the camera, it's like, wait, Roy's not grouchy and mean. I don't understand.
I've seen some interviews with him where he was talking about like as he was writing it, he's like, wow, I think I could play this character. Like I think I could be this guy.
Yeah.
And like, he proposed that to the other writers and they like thought he was crazy. But then, he is that. I can't imagine anybody else being that character at this point.
Yeah.
So
it made me really smile. Spoiler alert for one of the cool moments in Thor Love and Thunder when he shows up as Hercules and like the tag at the end of the movie. I don't know if we'll ever get to see that, but like just knowing there's a version of Hercules in the Marvel universe that exists that's played by him just makes me happy.
Yeah. So, I don't know that there's much else to say. This is probably going to be one of our shorter Wednesday one shots because it's only 3 seasons. We don't want to spoil it for you. It is a quick watch through, so it's not something that's going to take you, a year to get through. But it's really enjoyable. We highly recommend it. In my opinion, that alone is worth getting Apple TV. I mean, there's a ton of other stuff that we've done reviews on for Apple TV that are really good. They have a lot of great series. This one alone is worth paying for Apple TV.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't know if they'll ever put it out on a Blu-ray set or anything, but I would buy it in a heartbeat, even if having Apple Plus, because I've got some of my favorite shows on either side of my Blu-ray player, like on my TV stand. Because so I got Lost on one side, and then I got seasons 1 through 5 of Chuck, and then the 2 seasons of Pushing Daisy. So I would love to get like a box set of seasons 1 through 3 of Ted Lasso, on that shelf with those shows. So
that'd be a nice bookend for sure. So.
Yeah, and those are very Lost, and then 3 comedies.
Well, folks, if you haven't already checked it out, please go check it out. And after you do, go watch that review that we did with the Euro Boys and Sean because we had a lot of fun.
I'll put the link in the description for you.
Awesome. Beautiful.
All right. Well, that's it. So until next Wednesday, what's your one shot?